influence on what team drafts him. Deion Sanders, obviously friend of the show, friend of ours, and you already know, a mega star. Chase, should Deion dictate where his son Shedeur gets drafted?
No, not at all. I think it's a little ridiculous. When was the last time a dad was supposed to dictate where you got drafted? Last time I checked, skill should dictate where you get drafted. Not your dad, not that you have the famous, most, like, I was a huge Prime fan. Like, I grew up in Dallas when he was with the Dallas Cowboys doing the high step in and like all that stuff. I was a huge fan.
You was?
Huge fan, bro. I grew up in Dallas with Prime, dog.
I can tell.
He was returning punts. He was receiver, all that stuff. Look, I think Prime's an excellent, one of the best to ever play the game. Yeah. One of the most elite talents. But as a parent, I feel like you should stay out of it. And I know because probably some GMs and some coaches are going to ask your opinion and probably take it more importantly than others because of who you are, right? But last time I checked, man, your skill and what you do on the field should do the talking to GMs. And we're operating in this world like we think that Shedeur is going to go in the top 5. I'm not so sure. And so the top 5, you got the Giants, you got the Browns, and you got the Titans.
Mm-hmm. Number one.
Those are the 3 within the top 5 or 6 that need picks.
Need QBs.
And QBs, sorry. And so for me, it's like one of those things where just because you have a famous dad, just because your dad did things like he's never done before, I don't think that, in fact, I would almost go to say, because we're talking about Andrew Berry, the GM of the Cleveland, I'd almost think that probably GMs around the league probably don't want to deal with it. Probably just like, let me evaluate him. And there just haven't been many situations in the game that a dad has dictated where his son go. Eli Manning and Archie Manning.
Of course.
Jim Kelly, right? Not his dad, but like it's just few and far between. I don't know if Shedeur's on that level to be able to have to dictate where he goes. Well, that's all I'm saying.
Well, let's talk about it, guys. All right, let's just talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You know what? It's funny, man, because before I even give my take, when you're a rookie, you had a question about what you should do pertaining to NFL and teams, this and that, third. Chase, who'd you ask?
Probably my college coach.
You didn't ask your agent?
Yeah, college coach, agent.
Okay. Who you ask? Yeah, agent. Probably ask your agent, right?
Big brother, agent, yeah.
Yo, imagine if Deion Sanders was my dad. I don't even care what the agent's talking. Do I trust the agent or not? It don't matter because I got my father, and his name is probably Deion Sanders. That's one part. The second part is funny because when I heard Chase talk, I didn't mind that, right? But it reminded me of that's how players think. We got to start thinking like the owners. Mm-hmm. Seriously, though. Because when you look at even like Eli Manning, Archie Manning, his dad, he said, yo, we not going to the Chargers. We're not doing that. We're going to New York. And they forced him to trade him. But if you look at his career, how it went, you play in the biggest market team in football, right? Either the Cowboys or the Giants, okay? No matter how good you are, if you just start quarterback for the Giants, you know how much money you make off the field? Yeah. Let's say he didn't even make them Super Bowls. You making all this money for you play for the Giants.
No question.
There was a guy named Jennings. He was running back for the Giants, right? And at the time, I'm the leading rusher. Rashad Jennings, right? And I'm up for Dance with the Stars, right? Oh, yeah. And I'm telling my mom, they hyping me up. We want you in third grade. You got the look, obviously. You got the I'm ready. I got the style. I'm all pro. I got a top 5 jersey seller. You know who they went with?
Rashad Jennings. I remember he did Dance with the Stars.
New York.
How? Who? How? What do you mean? He plays for the New York Giants. Prime time. Odell Beckham, great player. Yeah. You make that one-hand catch, man, with the hair and all, that's great. Great branding. You do that in Buffalo, it's a great catch. Mm-hmm. You do it for the Giants, you're a worldwide name now, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just move on. Okay, who else we have here? Chase Daniels. Oh, no. Elway. John Elway did the same thing, though. I don't want to play for the Colts. Yeah. I want to play for the Broncos. Jim Kelly. Listen, I'm not going to play in the NFL. I don't want to play for the Bills. Too cold. I played at Miami University. We've seen it over and over again. Okay, I'll give you another color brother. If you want, that's what you want, right?
Another color brother.
Okay.
Color brother?
Bo Jackson.
Never seen that.
I don't want to be drafted number 1 to the Bucks. I'm going to play baseball. And if you look at all these guys' careers, you see the difference? When you control your narrative, you control your own business. Think about what I'm saying here, though. Yeah. It's bigger than this football. If Deion Sanders knows the game, nobody's played the game better than him. He went from Jackson State to Colorado. People talking about should he be the Cowboys' next head coach? Why not do the same thing with my son? Because I know what's best for my son. If my son has that player mentality like we all have, like you just talked about, he goes to the Browns, You know how sorry the Browns are for years? Bad quarterback play. You see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
No, I want my son to go to a good coach like Daboll for the Giants.
With all due respect, the guys you listed, and I agree with you, figuring out where to go. The guys you listed, Eli was like that coming out. Elway, Bo Jackson, Shedeur's not on that level.
How we know that? Because there's players.
He's not hyped up like that right now, Shady.
I don't believe in hype because the same
But
hype.
when you talk about it, no one knew what Elway was going to do. No one knew what Bo Jackson was doing. No one knew what Eli was going to do.
The same hype is the reason why guys go out there and draft Sam Darnold, regular player. The hype, the guys that talk about Baker Mayfield like he was Brett Favre. You forget? I didn't forget. And they're nowhere clear of that, right?
Yeah.
The number one pick this year, super hyped up. I mean, you show Cut to the Chase how he needs to play better.
Caleb.
I know. Yes, I was going what you say. Okay, so what I'm saying is I don't believe in no hype. I don't care what no hype is because all the hype is somebody that's telling me how good a player is. How do you know how good he is really?
Don't you think if your dad dictates where you go, like he's really his agent, right?
Okay,
Let's be
cool.
real. And then you go to Giants and you're just awful. Don't you think it impacts your legacy and how you go?
No.
Like, whereas if your dad stays out of it, and you get drafted number 2, which I think that'd be amazing to go learn under Kevin Stefanski. Right. He took Joe Flacco to the playoffs, dog. He's 2-time coach of the year. We're talking about Cleveland like it's some crazy franchise.
You can't sell me on the Browns. You can't do it.
But if they draft him, they draft him. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna do what Archie Manning did. So you talked, and everything you just named, that's Eli Manning, a player that was okay in the league, right? Played for the Giants, got a lot of hype, made some plays, went to the Super Bowl, right? Played for a long time. Yep. Yeah, but nobody was saying, like, oh my God, Eli was an elite quarterback. Nobody was saying that. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't mind what Deion's doing. Matter of fact, more players should do that. You don't need Deion Sanders to do that. If you're a top pick, I don't want to go to that trash team.
But Andrew Berry just said Deion would not have an issue going.
I give you a better one though. Jalen Hurts. I don't know how good Jalen Hurts would be if he played for the Browns.
Of course.
I don't know if we were talking about if he played for the Jets. But when you play for a good franchise with good ownership, with good GM that gets really, really good players like Saquon, like A.J. Brown, like Smitty, all these guys he's bringing here, right? And now it's like I don't have to do as much, and I can slowly learn. Last one, Patrick Mahomes. People say, oh, do we like him? Do we don't like him? I don't know. But you go to the right place with the right GM, with the right culture, that's what you get.
The Giants, Browns, and Titans don't have the right GM, the right culture right now. But let's be real.
I fight the Giants, real quick. The Giants, I played with Brian Daboll. He's a smart coach, dog.
But he's on, if they don't win this year, he's getting fired. That's real.
Me and Acho don't got to go. Y'all done?
No. My bad.
No, I'm saying, y'all, I like it. That's good TV. It's yes and no for me. And it's crazy because I agree with Chase because those dudes were bona fide number ones. Shedeur's not a bona fide number one. We talking about Travis. We talking about the pass rusher from Penn State. We talking about Cam Ward. So he's not the bona fide guy right now that like, hey, no matter what. Like last year we knew, hey, y'all all who know going first, you know what I mean? He should get the call the night before the draft. Mm-hmm. You know, we knew that. We don't know that this year. We don't know who that guy is going to be. So I don't want Deion Sanders, if he can go number one, blocking him from that type stuff. But on the other side that I see it, this is my son. And as a father, we always want our sons to be in the best position. I'll just say kids, period. We always want our kids to be in the best situation. The blessing about this situation is his last name's Sanders, so money ain't a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so if I go 7, that's cool. I'm not worried about the money. If that's the best fit for me and that's where my dad wants me to go and where we want to go, I see it both sides because I'm still looking out for my son. So it's a yes and a no for me. The no is you're not a bona fide number one. If somebody's going to take you number one, be the number one overall pick. But on the back end, man, you don't need no bread or none of that. So if your dad can help you and dictate you, hey, let's stay away from the Titans and Browns and let's get to Daboll. Yeah. We seen what Daboll did with Josh Allen. We seen what Daboll did with Daniel Jones and got him paid with a lot of money and went to the play. We seen that. And you're in a huge market. Let's see if we can get you there. So I don't mind that at all, trying to put your son in the best situation. But if he could go number one overall and he's not really the bona fide number one player, let him go.
I think the minor inconvenience is absolutely worth it. Because you think about Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, they essentially swap spots. Eli Manning accomplished 2 Super Bowls with 2 Super Bowl MVPs. The San Diego Chargers, now Los Angeles Chargers, won nothing over the tenure of Eli Manning's career. John Elway won 2 Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. The Colts, the team that originally acquired John Elway, won nothing during the course of John Elway's career. Think about John Elway's post-career because of his career. He ends up being an executive for the Denver Broncos. So that 2-month inconvenience impacted 20 years of John Elway's life. I would suggest 30 when you think about his post-career. If Eli Manning were to have gone to the Chargers and win nothing, there's no Manning cast. There's no Hall of Fame. There's just a guy who was a good guy for the Chargers that won nothing. That minor inconvenience is worth it. And more than anything, we don't got to think about history. Y'all think about right now. If Caleb Williams went to the Commanders and Jane Daniels went to the Bears,
First overall.
I would suggest that Caleb Williams would likely have been Rookie of the Year with Cliff Kingsbury.
Whoa.
Like, we don't have to go back 30 years. Like, think about it right now.
That's an interesting
like,
conversation.
If Caleb Williams went to the same Cliff Kingsbury, was
know
in his
about
offensive mind at USC, I think Caleb Williams does better. If Jaden Daniels goes to a coach who gets fired in the middle of the season and an offensive coordinator who's on his third team, I think that Jaden Daniels does worse. I'm not suggesting that Caleb would have done what Jaden did. What I do know is Cliff Kingsbury is a brilliant offensive mind, and I believe it was, who was the OC of the Chicago? Was it Shane?
Shane Waldron.
Was it Shane? And we know that Shane Waldron's on his third team in 3 years. So I know Jaden would have done worse. I know Caleb would have done better. Where that would have netted them both out, I don't know exactly. But I do know, think about how we would even look at Caleb Williams right now if he would have gone to a different destination. I think it's worth it.
But let me ask you this real quick. So, like, because we keep talking about, you guys are saying, like, where his level is. Like, he's not as good as them guys to be.
Talking about Shedeur?
Shedeur.
Yeah.
Like, he's not as good to be talked about and et cetera and do what he wants. Like the Jim Kellys, like Elways. But I don't ever look at that because, like, let's look at a draft where Baker Mayfield was the number one pick overall in that draft class. But, yo, you did have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen in that class. So I don't care how we hype it up. Because the number one guy for that class ain't even nowhere close to the two dudes. The one that went 32 pick, is that what Lamar went? The last pick in the first round? And then Josh Allen, he came to touch him with a 25-inch pole. You get what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, like, when we know the game of football, nobody can tell you who's good, who's not good. You can't tell me that. I don't care if you're a Hall of Famer. I don't care. I know the game. Right? We had an argument today about Jim Kelly and how great he was. And I'm like, yo, he was good. He was not super great. Until we looked his numbers up and look what he did for that team. So you can't just tell me anything because I played the game. So what I'm saying is, Shedeur Sanders, he's a good quarterback. And I think with a great coach and a good franchise, he might be even better.
It's all
But
about
if you
fit.
go to somewhere like the Browns, right, you see what it looks like. You go to the Jets, you see what that looks like. And the last thing is, yo, I always talk about, like, nowadays, players, you got so much leverage than you ever had before. They make so much more money than we did when we were playing. That was only, a couple years ago? What I'm saying is, like, now you got more power. That's why the NBA is so different, because the players have more power. If certain players start thinking like the Deion Sanders, like the Archie Mannings, like Jim Kellys and Elways, right, and Bo Jacksons, the league will be way different. Now, my career is going to be, I control my own destiny compared to going to a bad franchise. I got to save y'all. Where now, hold on, man, I might want to go to a good team that got a good coach and good surrounding around me.
Yeah, and I never said he wasn't a good quarterback. Like I do think he's a good quarterback. But you look at this situation. Sorry, James. Like the Titans, these are the top 10 picks. But who needs a quarterback? Titans, Browns, Giants, Raiders, Jets, Saints. If you really look at all those franchises, bro, all of them are not great right now. So like any situation you go to, now I do agree. If you go to the Saints and you sit behind Carr for a year and you run, if Kellen Moore is the head coach, I think that's the best situation for Shedeur. Like to not rush him on. Not that he's saying he can't have success, right? But I don't know if any of those top 6, 7 picks are great situations for Shedeur. Because when you get drafted, I agree with wholeheartedly what Shay said. All it takes is one GM to like you and one team to fall in love with you. All 31 others in the first round could hate you. But if they really feel a certain way about you, they will draft you regardless of what Deion says. And they'll probably work with Deion because Deion has earned that right. But I'm just saying, if you look at the top 10 picks, it's just the Saints, for me, make a ton of sense.
But
when they're 9, they're 9.
Another thing about this football thing is, like, GMs and ownership don't want a player that don't want to be there.
Yes.
So when I got traded to the Eagles, right, I say, yo, I ain't going. Yeah, I ain't going.
To the Bills.
When I got traded from the Eagles to the Bills, Drew Rosen, I'll say, hey, look, we're going to get some money out of this thing. Right? That's the first thing he said. I was like, well, how you going to do it? He said, we're going to tell them you ain't coming. Nobody wants
Leverage.
a player that they want that don't want them. So you're not going to bring somebody that's unhappy. So now when I talk about going to somewhere like the Giants, you got a smart coach, right? Now maybe the GM is a little wacky. I played with him in Buffalo. He's a little different. Obviously gave up Saquon for nothing. But when I look at the coach and then I look at the players. So now I got a number 1 wide receiver in the building.
Neighbors.
Okay, so now if I'm a rookie and I'm in trouble, I know one guy I can go to, Neighbors. Okay, then I got a good coach to help me out. We seen Daniel Jones actually get $80 million because we thought he was good because of what Brian Daboll did.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, yo, the culture, the coach, all that matters where you go.
So you like the Giants.
And if you seen the way that, first of all, he got the Deion Sanders blood in him. Shedeur got swag. You see, got everybody doing this. He got grown men doing this.
New York would be
Go to New York,
Change your life.
I mean, it would change your life, regardless of how you play.
On.
Regardless of how you
Be an
play.
owner,
I
not
like
a player.
Cleveland too, though, man.
I don't mind Cleveland.
you're getting
Two-time
Nick
coach of
Chubb
the
back.
league.
Cleveland, no.
They have the best offensive skill players in the top 10.
They got one of the best mess up jobs. They mess jobs up all the time.
What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.